Ecosystems of change towards sustainable youth development structures. The word Lego comes from a Danish term which means play well. Predictably today, my talk is all about creating structures and systems to enable young people to play well. An ecosystem is a biological community of interacting organisms in their physical environment. In layman's terms, it is a complex network of interconnected elements where each element has a role to contribute towards the existence of the other. As human beings, we are part of a human ecosystem. When we're born, we enter that system. As we're being educated, we educate others too. As we navigate towards a certain career, acquire a skill set, we re-enter that ecosystem as educators, experts, and professionals in our own right, thus forming our voice in the ecosystem and contributing to making society what it is. In Namibia, sadly, that ecosystem is heavily lopsided. High inequality and social injustices ensures that some people make it, but a greater percentage doesn't. They remain caught up in a vicious cycle, living from hand to mouth in streets marred by drugs, alcohol, and crime. Well, you may say, at least they have education, right? Let's zero in on the statistics for a bit. Statistics show that of the learners that set their exams last year, 43.8% grade 10s did not make it to grade 11. 60.7% grade 12s did not make it to university. Ladies and gentlemen, 31,596 young people out in the cold. So the question stands, what happens to those that fall through the cracks? 5% of those young people will be lucky enough to be readmitted into the Namibian College of Open Learning or back into their old schools where they will resit their exams and hopefully make it. And the rest, your guess is as good as mine. It's a broken ecosystem, it's lopsided, and is slowly toppling over. Because when you multiply 31,596 times 3 years, you realize that it's over 90,000. And considering the population of Namibia, which is just under 2.5 million, it means that we as Namibia are in trouble. Imagine if this is where you were born. Imagine if this was your neighborhood. Imagine you were the young boy queuing up for water to bath before going to school. Will you make it? Is the ecosystem doing enough for you? Imagine if this was your home, which you share with 3 siblings and a widowed parent. Are you being set up for success? Or do you already enter the race miles behind your counterparts from more favorable backgrounds? Well, at least Rafael is fighting his way through. He just got selected into the under-17 regional team, and previously he's been awarded Outstanding Best Academic Student in Physical Science as well as in History. And we are optimistic as he sits his national exams that indeed he will make it. Ask yourself the question, what are the conditions that have been put in place to ensure his success? Hold on to that thought. I have a story to share. I love stories. It starts in a place called NUBUAMIS. You may ask, where is NUBUAMIS? NUBUAMIS is a high-density suburb in Katutura. Again, you may ask, where is Katutura? Katutura is a township in Windhoek, Namibia, where the greater percentage of Windhoek-based Namibians are from. Now that we have our bearings, let's bring in the main character. His name is Melky. When I met Melky, he had 2 dreams. One dream I thought was easy enough. The second dream, near impossible in my head. You may ask, what was his first dream? Wanted to become a professional cyclist and attain podium positions in his cycling. And with heavy, broken bikes, he achieved his dream. And his second dream? Now that gave me goosebumps. I remember the night he shared his dream. We were all huddled around the bonfire, 40 happy campers. One by one, each child stood up and said what they wanted to be. All of what they said was pretty predictable to me, because society forms the role models that you aspire to become. it sets the examples of the careers that you see every day. So they were all very predictable until Melky got up and declared into a star-filled night, "I want to be a pilot one day." Whew, that made me shiver, because I'm unaware of the existence of a pilot in NUBUAMIS. Took me a while to recover before I asked the follow-up question. "Okay, Melky, what will it take?" Say to me, "Miss T," this is what they call me back at my Center Physically Active Youth. "Miss T, I have to get my math mark up from 17% to over 70%, my geography up from 36% to over 80%, and I must do physics from scratch and do sufficiently well in it." And I say, "Well, Melky, at least that's on you. Is that all?" He says, "No. I need 600,000 in flight school fees in order to achieve my dream." Now that was a wake-up for me, because in my head, I saw it as near impossible. But in his head, he saw himself soaring with the eagles. I was out of the country when I got a call from Melky. "Miss T, I made it. I have an A in maths, I have a B in physics, I have an A in geography. Miss T, I can finally achieve my dream." Having fallen through the cracks, for a year he had to go and resit his exams, and finally he had made enough grades to be able to move on. It took me 2 seconds before it's actually sunk in that I have to break it down to him and say, "I do not have 600,000 for you to achieve your dream." Well, I didn't need to, because Desert Air Flight School offered him a scholarship, 600,000 worth, in order to achieve his dream. Now my NUBUAMIS boy is soaring with his eagles. And now I can safely stand and say, I do know of a soon-to-be pilot from NUBUAMIS, and his name is Melky. Somehow the ecosystem has rebalanced in his favor. For him and his 2 friends, Marwan, pictured in the middle, who's currently studying computer science, to Afeni in the far right, who's studying business management, now they can re-enter that ecosystem and provide some form of balance to ensure that they pass the message that says it is possible to be from where they come from and be able to see the reality of your dreams come to pass. So this leads me to say, maybe all along we've been asking the wrong questions. So what if we asked the right questions? What if before teaching them mathematics we asked, "Are you hungry?" and actually did something about it? What if we asked them, "Do you want to learn something new?" and taught them skills that help them to become more relevant in a truly digital era? Before writing them off, asking, "Do you want to go back to school?" Like Chubby, who at the age of 20 is 5 years older than most of his classmates, but is above average and outstanding in all his subjects. Having fallen out of the cracks and been out of school for over 2 years, he was ready to re-enter the race and fight for his life. What if we gave them a place to belong, a place to be part of something new? Because maybe by teaching them these skills and keeping them off the streets, we're somehow saving their lives. The physically active youth model for holistic youth development tries to alleviate the gaps created by a lopsided ecosystem and a broken education system. Using a holistic approach, it addresses the needs of the child, from providing a feeding program to ensuring their academic success, as well as integrated sport and life skills. So the results show that an over 85% pass rate in grade 12, 100% pass rate in grade 10, and over 90% retention rate. 1,600 graduates that have called our center home have gone on to see the reality of their dreams come to pass. For example, Jennifer, who's in Abu Dhabi working at the Hilton Hotel, Sophia, who's currently studying sport management and who's the former junior national cycling champion. But yet, it's not the only model. Imagine how many stories have remained undocumented. Thousands in Namibia. How many stories are undocumented in Africa as a whole? So much more. And how many stories in the world over? Tons of thousands more. my idea is to bring together everybody who has a role to contribute, time, service, whatever medium, sport, art, bring everybody together to reabsorb all these 31,000+ young people that are out in the streets and help rebalance the ecosystem in their favor so that they can escape the vicious cycle. So by building a network of like-minded individuals and organizations, bringing them together in a platform initially for information sharing and benchmarking, and eventually being able to profile these organizations such a way that volunteering opportunities can be sought, internships can be advertised, and whoever has a service to offer can document their stories in an interactive platform. And as we do that and our stories become more and more visible, we are able to to have a greater impact, and that way we are possibly able to also attract joint funding opportunities. I came across this picture and it warmed my heart. I had Googled community development organizations in Namibia when I came across it. What strikes me about that picture is that that woman might not necessarily represent your idea of a teacher. And as she stands in the heat of the day, with children of all ages and young mothers, she is doing her own part to rebalance the ecosystem in their favor. And this leads me to say, every leaf on a tree has a role to play to give that tree identity and make it what it is. And every tree in a forest contributes to making the forest what it is. And you, me, all of us in all our ways, as we keep doing what we're doing to change these young people's lives, we all contribute in making a difference and rebalancing the ecosystem in their favor. And as we all do our part, slowly through us, a forest will form. I'm all about creating an ecosystem of change makers. I'm all about starting a forest of change. Join me, will you? Thank you.